screens. It is a Monday morning. It's actually a very nice sunny day. I'm just getting ready to go out. I'm doing a bit of co-working this morning and I've realised I've got a call booked in the middle of the time that I'm supposed to be co-working, which is a little bit frustrating and also a little bit rogue for me anyway, because I typically try to organise calls in the middle of the week, Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays. I just prefer that Monday is my head down day, and Friday is my head down day, and it's also Friday and I just don't want to take calls on that day. So anyway, I've got to fit that in somehow, and I need to have my hay fever tablet. That is a theme of my life, you'll get to know, but it's all about the hay fever here. Another exciting week ahead. Why I'm deciding to tell you that when I'm putting my trainers on is quite questionable. I'm letting my hair air dry this morning. I just think it looks quite pretty. Hopefully it'll go kind of wavy. I'm not even gonna wear a hat, normally I do. But doing some co-working today. It's also Easter this weekend, so I need to cram more in to 4 days. And this week is actually incredibly busy. Some of it quite exciting as well. So I've got a few things coming up this week, which we'll get into. But today, apart from the call, is a head down, I need to get some work done day. Feeling pretty good, pretty motivated and pretty focused after last week. Like I said, this time of year, lots of things start happening, like events, and also just the weather. Makes everything feel a little bit more fun. So we love that. Anyway, let's get going. Hello. Oh, just take a deep breath. Why can't I not breathe? You actually can't see me at all there. Let's move this. I have just been at my friend's house all morning and some of the afternoon actually. I've been at Sip and Sando HQ. Not actually working on any Sip and Sando content, to be fair, but I have had a very productive morning, and it was one of those mornings where it's heads down, laptop time. Not really anything super fun to show you, but I really like my Mondays at the moment. I used to have a lot of calls on Mondays when I was in my agency role. Sorry, I'm out of breath. Why am I out of breath? You'll never guess what. I can't breathe very well because I've got really bad hay fever. When I worked in an agency role, I had a lot of calls on a Monday morning, and they were the kind of calls that they needed to happen, and Mondays made perfect sense for them to be at that time, where the team gets together, you sort out what you're doing that week, the priorities, updates on projects, that kind of thing. So they're all like, it makes perfect sense to do it on a Monday, but it would also feel quite intense, I think, sometimes when you came back straight after the weekend and it's like, bam, you got to be on calls all day. So I'm actually really enjoying Mondays as a freelancer because I don't get the Sunday scaries, which is fantastic. And I have quite a good routine. So I go through all of my projects, I check how much time I've spent on them, if I'm on track, go through my deadlines, to-do lists, check my finances. And then also for any paid campaigns that I'm running at the moment, I have, what do? I do weekly updates. So I check in on those and I send the client just a quite high level update, because it is only a weekly update, so I don't need to go into too much depth, but anything that stood out to me in the last week. And they kind of get you by until you do a more in-depth monthly report. But I've just started building a Looker Studio template. If you don't know, get to know. Looker Studio is something which you can plug in your Google Analytics and spreadsheets. I was going to say anything you can think of, and although there are lots and lots of options, you often have to have a connector. Anyway, that's a bit boring to talk about, but it's been on my to-do list literally since I went freelance to build my own template which matches my freelance brand, because I want one for to track my own socials, and I've also got a couple of clients who need one too, and I thought, do you know what, just get on and make the template. What am I waiting for? So I'm going to drive home now and then get on with that, carry on editing the vlog that I filmed last week, and potentially I need to do some organic social for a client, which is how I feel. I think it doesn't feel like a Monday task, but I just need to get it done. But I'll check back in with you later. Hello friends. We're on a bit of a wonky angle here, aren't we? But anyway, I thought I'd do a little check-in. I am breaking one of my own rules here. It's 7:36 on Monday night and we've had dinner and we watched an episode of Sort Your Life Out while watching dinner. I love that programme, it's become my favourite programme. But now I'm going to do what I tell people not to do, which is go work some more. Basically at the moment, I think I've always noticed this, even when I used to work in my previous agency role, sometimes I would just feel really motivated and almost hyperfixate on something. If it was something that was fun, I would just want to do it. I just want to carry on and get it done. And that's kind of how I'm feeling about the work that I've got to do today, because I'm editing a vlog, which is all exciting and quite fun, and obviously it's fun. But also I've got some Pinterest stuff to do, which earlier in the vlog, I think I was like, oh, it doesn't feel like a Monday task. I've come round to it now. And if I'm honest with you, it's a Monday night, we're not doing anything else. So I am gonna go sit at my desk. The other thing, which I think has given me a new lease of inspiration, motivation, is that I bought and I've built a new monitor stand for my laptop and for my monitor, which one of the ones that actually attaches to your desk. I'm sure at some point I will show my work setup, but it just means that now, because my screen I was kind of having to look down on a lot before, and now I don't. And so I've got this new wave of, I want to sit at my desk and do work. So I'm going to do that for a little bit. I'm not going to put any pressure on myself to do it for a long time though, because if I get bored, or if I think I'd rather be doing anything else, it's the evening, so I'll just stop. But right now, I just want to get ahead, and I think this is the first time as a freelancer that I've had a bank holiday. I haven't actually yet, but at the end of this week is Easter, so we've got Friday off. Monday is a bit different, and I'll explain that nearer the time. But I actually have a lot that I want to get done this week, and I don't want to be stressing. I just don't want to be stressing. So on the topic of this week, now might be quite a nice time for me to break down what's going on this week and what to expect. So today, Monday, was pretty fun because I was doing some co-working, get the week ready, set it off to a good start, means I get out of the house and I've got to get up, I've got to be somewhere, which is great. Came back for the afternoon and now I'm working tonight, which is fine. Tomorrow, bit of a weird one actually, and not your average Tuesday. I've got 2 calls first thing in the morning. Then me and my partner are actually going to pick up a van to use only for a couple of hours while we're moving a sofa. We're getting a sofa second hand off of his parents' neighbours. And you know what sofas are like, they're big, they're bulky. Can't fit a sofa in the car. So we're going to pick that up in the middle of the day, bring it back here, get it in the house somehow. And then I will be working after that. Oh, and then actually tomorrow's exciting because in the evening, so 5 till 7, I'm doing a panel, and as part of Alt Marketing School's graduation. I've done lots of work with Alt Marketing School in the past. I'm not sponsored or anything to say this, but the lovely Fab runs Alt Marketing School and she's a dear friend of mine and she runs Alt Marketing School. So I'm actually on a podcast with her every month, maybe even more frequently than that. So that's tomorrow. That's an interesting thing that I don't do every Tuesday. Wednesday will be a heads down, get stuff done day. I've got this week, some of the things that I need to get off my plate are ad campaign setups, podcast promo, a strategy. I'm sure there's something else that's quite chunky. So I've got some things I need to get through. So Wednesday will probably just be a work from home, get my head down, get into the work day. And then Thursday is another different, not normal Thursday for me. And I'm actually going back to my old work for some of the day, which is really weird. But I'm actually quite excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. Thursday was always one of the days that we had to go in the office when I worked there. And so the whole team is going to be in. I am working on a big ad campaign at the moment So just a bit of context in case you've not seen my content before. I've worked in social media for over 10 years, and basically all of that 10 years was spent at a digital marketing agency where I worked from apprentice up to senior. Oh my God, I've already forgotten my job title. Social media strategist, I think. It's really bad, but I've swapped basically. Now I'm freelance. I just call myself a social media consultant. But I worked with the team for ages, and it was a massive decision for me to make the jump to freelance life, but also to leave, because when you've been somewhere that long, it's so hard. Those relationships are really well established, and it's all I've ever really known. I've worked with lots and lots of different clients whilst I worked there, but the backbone of what I've associated with work life has been that. So instead of, there were different options I could have gone down, right? Different routes. I could have just left and I could have gone to a different agency. I could have left and gone in-house somewhere. I could have left and done something completely different to social media. And then it was probably my least thought about option, just being transparent, was going freelance. Now, the reason I think I didn't give going freelance much thought before I actually did it was because to me that was the scariest. Going out alone, being responsible for everything yourself, it's you or nothing happens, definitely intimidated me, and now I love it. I still can't believe, I literally, when I was driving back earlier, was thinking about what life looks like now, and I can't believe that I'm doing it. But anyway, part of that, and I'm sure this won't be forever, and that's not shade to them, but that's just, I have left. But I have kept up some of my old workload. So some of the campaigns that I was working on and some of the social media workflows that the agency had with different clients, I am still doing, but as a freelancer. So it's been really good actually. It's definitely from a security perspective, given me that little bit of a buffer. And also it's nice because it made the transition a little less brutal, because leaving, as I said, after 10 years, what am I doing? But I've been back once for half an hour. That was just to pop in for a meeting. But on Thursday, I'm probably going to be there for, I don't know, haven't decided. That's the other thing. It's up to me when to decide and how long to be there. So it's going to be fun. And we actually, so the agency I used to work with do these treats called Bubblegum Bonus, where if you meet a certain criteria, winning a new client, for example, there were various different ones, you get a bonus out of the Bubblegum Bonus machine, and they're little capsules that everyone has written some kind of treat onto. It might be going for lunch, it might be going rock climbing, it might be somewhere in between, do you know what I mean? And anyway, we're going to go play darts, because this particular thing, quite bad, I can't remember what it's for, but it got pulled out of the machine while I was still working there, so I've been invited. So it's going to be quite exciting. And then it's bank holiday, so Friday I'm hoping to just chill, Saturday chill, Sunday chill, Monday I'm going to be getting more content for Sip and Sando, which is really exciting, and I'm actually going to be on location. So I will hopefully get lots of content for Sip and Sando, but also take you along to show you some of the behind the screens. And I think I have now settled on calling this behind the screens, and without wanting to waffle on for too long, behind the screens is an idea that came to me literally while I was still in my old job. I wanted to talk about and have a way to create content around what it's like to work in this industry, and also what it's like behind the screens, because we are all behind a screen at all times, whether we're filming and being on camera, whether we're having to scroll on our phones to keep up with the social media trends, or if we're sat at our laptops. I'm always behind a screen. Even when I switch off, I'm watching TV probably. Do you know what I mean? So I've had this idea in my head for ages, but just didn't really know how or what I wanted to do with it. And then while I've been practice blogging recently, filming things that have not seen the light of day, probably will, I'm probably just going to weave them into sort of new vlogs. I was like, do you know what I'm doing the thing. I just haven't, I was calling it daily vlog or weekly vlog or whatever. And I was like, actually, this is exactly what behind the screens is. It's showing the perhaps slightly less glamorous side of it, showing the realities, but also the fun bits. And for me, personally, it's quite fun as well because I have worked in social media for a very long time, but my experience has always been much more on the B2B side of things and much more on the corporate side. So when I see vlogs or TikToks made by people who are more posed, and I'm not saying they don't do strategy, but instead of maybe a strategic job title, they're more of a social media creator, and they work with, say, directors, photographers, videographers, and that's their day-to-day, and they're very used to doing that. I'm a lot less used to doing that because my bread and butter has been sat behind a screen, writing the strategy, doing the report, and then presenting to clients, going to boardrooms, all of that side of it. So I think I also wanted a way to what life's like now. I'm in that sweet spot because I've got the best of both worlds. Learning new stuff and also being able to talk about some of the experiences that I've had. Because I often think that the more corporate B2B side doesn't really get as much exposure social, because it's not as interesting. There's a lot of sitting behind a screen. Can you tell why I've called it that now? But waffled on for quite a while, but I thought I would, this is probably the last thing I'm going to film for today. I will check back in tomorrow. Probably going to be a little bit chaotic because of getting a van and stuff. Be good. And I will, I'll speak to you soon. See how it goes. Goodbye. Good morning, gang. Oh, desk day today. I don't actually, okay, this sound, some people won't get it. When it's winter, I need to stop leaning because I'm making you wobble. When it's winter, I will happily sit at my desk here all day. As soon as it's spring, summer, I don't like sitting up here. This room is north facing, so it doesn't get any sunlight directly in here. And it means for a lot of the year, I don't enjoy, and I'm very reluctant to sit at my desk, and I will rather sit downstairs at my dining table or if can outside. That doesn't happen very often. But today I've woken up and it's very dark. And I've also got a couple of calls this morning. I've already had one and I've got another one in half an hour. For it, I'm ready. And then after that, I've got a graduation workshop tonight, which I need to actually get my head into because that's really exciting. I don't need to read a document. Let's literally do that right now to check. I'm fine, I think. Yeah. I know who I'm introducing, and I've got some panel questions, which we could actually do a little recce while we're here. One is about obviously introducing yourself, which would be a nice, you know, I feel like I have though. I feel like I did that last night in the last clip that you watched. But if you don't know, I've worked in social for over 10 years and I have very recently swapped from working at an agency to going freelance. And it is actually exciting. I'm not saying that sarcastically. So far I'm really enjoying it. I'm so hay fevery today. I feel it too. Despite it's raining, I'm not feeling like cured. One of these other questions is about putting yourself out there online. And that feels like when you're building a personal brand as an individual, not just a company. How do you build confidence? Could talk about this all day, and it's something that I have to constantly reassess, think about. I find it's very difficult to build confidence and put yourself out there. There's a lot that you have to, or certainly that I had to work through and have to revisit quite often. So comparison is a big thing, and on so many levels. What your setup is like, the views that your content gets, how that equates to your self-worth. It absolutely shouldn't, by the way, but I think it's really difficult not to. And even things like how you look on camera, and if you're having a bad hair day, can make you feel like I can't do it. You absolutely can do it, but it's really tough. And one of the things that I've had to reassess And this is what doesn't quite keep me up at night. But even things like this vlog, I have to ask myself on a regular basis, why am I doing this? Is this something that I want to put out there? Why do I want to do this with people? And for me, the line personally is making sure it's work related. If it's work related, we're fine. If I started talking about my deepest, darkest feelings and really stuff, that's not something I'm comfortable sharing online. But it's work related, and I would have helped previous me with a work related query. That's how I know if I'm doing what I want to be doing. But it's really difficult. How do you make time for building a network is another one of the questions. I'm fine talking about this because by the time that this goes out, this will be about 3 weeks in the past, because there's a lag. The pitch. An elevator pitch is actually something I need to work on a little bit, I think, because my elevator pitch, if we want to call it that, over the last 6 weeks or so, sorry, you can probably hear me fiddling with this, it's really satisfying, has, hey, I'm Becca, I've just swapped to freelance life after working in an agency for 10 years, and I'm a social media consultant. But I can't say I've just switched for much longer, I don't think, because it's nearly 3 months now, which is crazy in terms of time passing so quickly. But and what does making a positive impact on your audience mean to you, and why? I would never want to create content that could make somebody feel less than, and goes for my clients as well. I try to be selective with what I'm actually marketing, promoting of clients, and make sure that there's a good fit there. I've definitely been involved in my time things that personally wouldn't resonate with me, or actually, is that the best use of everyone's time? How satisfying that is. And I think it comes with a learning curve. You've got to figure out what your values are, what you care for, and to stay true to that. But it's really, and for me, I want to make sure that there's always a consideration for the person at the receiving end of that content, and also consideration the impact that service is going to have. So if it was, for example, something that was going to absolutely destroy the environment, you're going to have a much more difficult time of convincing me that that's something I should be involved in. Yeah, I've this panel workshop that I'm on later, there'll be a panel and some questions and things, but it should be really fun. I think I'm going to change outfit. I'm not loving this outfit, it's fine for this morning and what I'm doing during the day. So yeah, today's a bit of a funny day because I have a lot of work to do, but then I'm randomly going in a van to sofa. Typical Tuesday morning. And coming back, doing the graduation and just cracking on with some work stuff as well that I'm keen to do. Yesterday I worked so long. I did about 12 hours, which is not a vibe. But I just keep reminding myself it's slightly because I'm really motivated at the moment. I'm doing things that I'm finding exciting. And also there is a bank holiday this week and next week because it's Easter. So I think that's why I feel more pressure to get things done. Oh my God. I just feel so hay fevery. It's so bored. Basically, I did make one mistake this morning, which was literally just before I hit record was when I took my hay fever tablet instead of taking it as soon as I wake up. Because if I take it then, by the time I'm doing something, it's kicked in. But if I don't take it till halfway through the morning, I've already let the hay fever start getting bad. That's all there is for now. I'm gonna go and get ready for this record call, I guess. Alright, catch you later.
I'm just about to join the Alt Marketing School graduation workshop, which is very exciting. I've just been reading through the prep, finding about people that I'll be sort of group with, and in 2 minutes. I've had to think about my panel questions, and we've done all the stuff in the van. You might have seen I was in a van. Good morning to the vlog. Behind the screens, we are literally behind the screens. I'm sat at my desk at the moment. I just had a call this morning, and it was one about access to my thing, Facebook and YouTube. Really straightforward.
That actually was an example of Meta working properly and just giving access. You send an invite, you accept the invite, everything goes to plan. I can't tell you, especially in the last year, I feel like it's massively increased the number of times I've tried to do that with clients, both as a freelancer, but also back when I was still working at the agency, where it's not worked. Like you get an error, or the invite never comes through, or like happen, and it's really annoying. So I'm glad that call actually went completely to plan, because I end up dreading access related conversations because I know so often it doesn't work. Today actually quite excited today. I'm in a good motivated vibe. Oh my god, everything's making noise. So I've had my call. What I need to do now is some life admin things. I need to get some washing on, really exciting. And I've not actually had anything to eat or drink this morning yet, so I'm gonna go and I'm gonna have a coffee. I think I need to have my hay fever tablet because I've not had one of those either, and some breakfast. And then I am working on a strategy today. What is making my laptop makes noises? They sound like calendar events, but nothing's happening. Yeah, some work on a strategy this morning, and I also, what's the other thing? I've got some footage to edit, and I really want to get that out today if I can. I'm a bit antsy about it because I'm actually really excited to get it out there, and I've got an idea that is half formed in my head, and I just need to make that idea a reality. I'm really eager to get it out. That feels so bad. This of needing to sneeze is like right. So anyway, I'm gonna go and have my hay fever tablet, and hopefully that will calm it down a little bit. And yeah, today, and I need to be ready at 6 o'clock because I'm going out this evening. And yeah, there's 2 days I've worked late. Yesterday, obviously I was doing the graduation workshop, which was fine, but it meant our evening last night was really like thrown, because where we'd been in the van, we had to go take the van back, then collect my car, then we needed to do a food shop because we'd put it off the day before, which was like just sort of poor planning on our part, but never mind. And it meant we'd eat until so late, and then everything just got pushed back. So is much more on a normal schedule. Then tomorrow I keep forgetting that I'm going. I don't keep forgetting, but I haven't really worked it out in my head yet what work I'm going to be able to do tomorrow, because I'm working at my old office, which is strange. It's strange how normal it feels. I cared, and I've said it out loud a couple of times, like, I'm to work tomorrow. Becca, I'm working now. I'm at work right now. It's really bizarre. It's because I've worked, what's the date? 17th tomorrow. So it's only been 2 months. No. 1, 2. It's been 2 months. I thought it was 3. Where did I get 3 from? But anyway, it's strange how it feels so normal not being there, and yet tomorrow the idea of going in feels completely normal. It seems strange to me at all. What seems more strange is because I'm not going in at a specific time, because I don't have a meeting or anything, I'm just going in to do some of the work that I'm doing for them. I am sat here thinking, oh, well, what time shall I turn up? You know? What shall I turn up? It's so strange having that option of literally just picking based on what I want. So I think I'm probably going to go a little bit later than I used to go, but I also don't want to be really late. And then I also thought about the work that I want to get done while I'm there. And so one of the big pieces of work that I was going to do tomorrow was into a big campaign that's going to be launching at the end of the month. And I need all of the assets and everything ready to be able to do the setup for that. And the plan was that will be ready so that tomorrow I could go in, kind of briefing, and then start setting up the campaign. Now, if that's not ready, then that actually makes my decision really easy, because I won't be doing that work when I get there. So I could go in a lot later and do some of my other stuff beforehand. I also can't decide what to do about lunch. I know this sounds probably really obvious, but I used to either get a meal deal or I used to take in lunch. Do you know what? I've answered my own question, because today I'm out for dinner, so I'm not going to make lunch.
It's just bizarre how normal tomorrow feels. Like, I'm going to work tomorrow. Like, it's but it should be quite fun because then we're going to play darts. That's the ultimate reason why I'm going. I'm not just going to work. I wouldn't probably do that. I'd go in to work on stuff that I'm doing with them. And it just tied in nicely because we're going out to play darts in the end of the day. So yeah, it'll be good. But and I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't figured out what I'm doing on Friday because it's Easter and I'm working on Monday, and I am really, sounds a bit I'll end up working a bit on Friday potentially. I might not, but I feel like there's a few things that I need to get done. Like, I need to sit and do my finances, which I've made into a bigger task than it actually is, because I think I've done most things at this point. I just need to upload everything to my accountant and also make sure that my Xero is all up to date, which I think it is, all apart from my TFL receipts. Came to me like in the middle of the night the other day. I was like, oh yeah, those. I don't have many because that's only since I went freelance. But just been when I've been travelling to like coworking and stuff, events and things. So it's basically done. It's nearly done. Anyway, I'll see some clips in here. You might not, but we'll see.
Can't have this playing, can I? Hello. Good morning, gang. Yesterday I didn't really vlog much. I think I vlogged at the beginning of the day saying that I was going to be editing, and I've edited that vlog. I published it this morning and felt so good. Now today is quite unique. You're too low down. I need to move you. Hang on. That's better. You're kind of my height now. I am going to work today, so I am going to see my old team. Do I want an iced or a hot coffee? I've been up to some things this morning, so I'm not actually there for as long as I initially thought, which is fine because I was also getting in my own head about it. I would have loved to have been there, but I think I would have fully reverted into like old. And she's so, also I'm not keeping my hair like this. I've curled it gently just to give it some shape. I washed it this morning just to give it a little bit, otherwise a bit of something, a bit of like dried naturally, because if I do let my hair dry naturally it just dries flat as a pancake, which is also why I pin these bits up to give it a bit of shape. I think I'm gonna like attack fringe but I'm making coffees, that's what I'm doing, and then I need to check something, and then I'm probably gonna go. Also, I'm having just having a bit of a complex about everything. It's just weird. It's not bad weird, it's just weird. But it's strange going back. I did it's a video I posted this morning, which is, if you want to go back and watch it, I'll try to like weigh myself. Maybe when I'm editing this I'll remember to put a link to it, otherwise it will not happen. But a lot of time reframing how I'm doing sort of daily vlogs, very in line with this, which is behind the screens. But I was doing day in the life content for a while now, since before I actually went freelance. Like, I had the process of how I got there as well, but it just felt a bit like there was something missing essentially, and that's why I've now rebranded it to behind the screens, because it's an idea, it's a concept that I've been sitting on. It's a concept I've been sitting on for ages, months, thinking, oh, that would be really good, I should do something with that, I should plan a piece of content around it. And I was gonna do, originally it was going to be a solo podcast story time piece of content. Let's take you with me, which I think still could be a potential option, but I just wasn't, this is a good angle, isn't it? I've filmed 2 episodes already and they've not seen the light of day yet. They still might, because what I say in them is true, and it's stories about early marketing career, advice that I would give, and how I handled it and how I found the challenges of having to work in social, because at first it can seem like the best job ever with no nodes, and then quite quickly you realise that there's balance, put it like that. Anyway, yeah, so instead of keeping this idea for a solo podcast, which may or may not see the light of day, I thought I should just start framing all of my content in this behind the screens way, because that is what feels comfortable. and that's what feels right for me. What I don't want to be doing is doing vlogging or day in the life or whatever of my personal life, essentially. This is personal, and so much of it is intrinsically tied up with like who I am as a person and what I want to achieve as a person, and you're getting to know me personally, but I don't have any interest in becoming like a content creator. I would just find it too much pressure and find it very just intrusive in a way. Behind the screens feels like there's a good natural balance. Every time I pick up the camera and I'm creating a piece of content, it needs to be with my sort of work hat on, but it's about my work life. It's not about what I have for dinner. Occasionally those kinds of things might drop in. I quite like making coffee. That's not work. But do you know what I mean? I think I look really funny with these bits up here. Also, what angle to be having a chat with you? Is this, I'm not a tall person, but I guess this is what I'd look like if I was tall. That's fun. Also, I need to be really careful because I've got a white t-shirt and I've just made coffee. So I'll be back in a minute when I've sat for the day. We're back. Got my coffee. It's occurred to me I should probably eat before I go. So I'm going to have crumpet. Been going through a crumpet phase. Well, it's not really a phase now. I'd say about a year I've been going through a crumpet phase. Anyway, yeah, but been a bit lost in my content. And I know back in March I had a bit of a wobble because I was posting a lot and outside influences was almost convinced in one night flat or one day flat that, oh, I shouldn't be posting that. It's what's got to do with anything. And it did knock me a bit, if I'm honest. Oh, hair's all like, hair from the setting spray. Oh, goodness me, I've got to sort that out before I go. How's so much volume in that bit of hair? I know I just said I'm not doing lifestyle content, but between you and I, like, I want to cut this, thin it out a bit. It just feels really heavy. I don't know, we'll see. I think maybe while I'm pottering, I'm gonna pin this back bit. What's really not helped and what I didn't even think about is the fact that when I sprayed my setting spray, it's basically hairspray, I've sprayed my hair as well. So, good job. Anyway, it's a bit better. Yeah, I took a bit of a knock because I suddenly doubted my own content, which had been performing absolutely fine, and I'd been quite content making it. And then, yeah, just like that, I was like, no, can't post that, that's wrong. And I don't know why I did that. I think I let, just voices get to me, which I think is completely normal because it was coupled with a week where I was feeling a bit down anyway and a bit uncertain about things. But I'm just leaning into it. Work is on the up, which is a huge difference anyway. And additional to that, I now framing it as behind the screens, that just feels a bit more exciting and something I'm a little bit more keen to share with people. So rather than a more generic, and there's nothing wrong with this, and it's literally what I was doing, but a generic like day in the life, it's now behind the screen and it's got, you know, vlogs or a longer. I'd love, and this is what I've been doing, each weekly vlog is an insight into what my life is like as a freelancer, how it's shaping out into work-life balance in terms of my happiness, because that's ultimately like a factor in why I changed my career anyway. And tie in stories into that, so what advice I would give, what it's like speaking at events, what it was like getting promotion, what it was like not getting a promotion, you know, things that I think are really worth talking about. Because like sharing those things, that is what I see as valuable. And to give you a bit of context as well, everything I've learned in my career is basically self-taught. So I did an apprenticeship way back, which was only a year long, and it was social media specific. It was very like broad, and if I'm honest, it was all out of date even when I was taking it, let alone when I'd finished it. And then I think this is a great thing that happened, but some people might feel like it's not great. Make of it what you will. But I was the only social media person in my job. There was no other social media person I could turn to ask for support or best practices, or how do you do this, or have you had this before, or did that remain the same literally until I left. It's still the case now that I've left. It's my mind, but it's meant that I've had to be very self-motivational, get on and do things and learn it myself. But would have appreciated like a big sister figure who could have told me, hey, you know that annual coming up, or you know that campaign that you're not really sure what you're doing with it yet, here's like some words of wisdom that might help you along the way. So that's what I want to just intrinsically sort of loop in my content. I don't know my fringe, guys. What is this? I actually think it's bending the wrong way. I even hair dried it the right way. I actually think I need to go shorter. I think I'd like to go for a fringe. Is that me talking, or is that, I don't know, am I hungry or something? Making decisions about fringes, high risk. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat these and then like I need to get a move on. Putting my shoes on. I'm pink today. My pink trainers and my pink jacket. You can't see me at all. Fully aware. Let's stop filming because there's no point. Literally can't see anything. Some lunch, she says. I'm back. It's now Friday. I've just had a sneezing fit. I tried to start recording this other times and I just started sneezing. I couldn't stop sneezing. I'm making a bit of a late lunch. It's bank holiday, it's Good Friday, and so I'm having mostly a day off. I out to see some friends and I've had a really lazy, laid back morning, which was really, really nice. But I'm going to do some work this afternoon. There's just a few things that I just want to get done, just want to get ahead of basically. And I need to tell you about yesterday, because as you've just seen, I didn't get much because I was with my old work and I just thought, it's weird if I record a little bit. But I wanted to talk about it because that's the first time I've been back properly. I popped in once, just literally for half an hour. For a meeting, but this was me going there and I basically spent the afternoon in my old office and then went out to play darts with them. I have a bit of a knack for darts. First like half playing and then I sort of found my groove and I actually quite enjoy playing darts. It's quite fun. Anyway, let's talk about what it was like going back. So this was for a company that I worked with for years. I was an employee there, worked up from an apprentice to a senior social media strategist, and I actually felt a mixture of excitement and nerves because it was really strange getting ready, knowing that I was going to go back to work. And a couple of things were different. Obviously I don't have my old pass anymore, so I had to have a visitor badge, like those little things. It also didn't work, which is just, I get like funny getting into different buildings, and I was explaining this to somebody yesterday, and that I actually get more anxious about that side of things than I do proper like the gritty of meetings and things like that I have with clients. Anyway, it was really nice. It was strange, and I would say it was a good level of strange. So the team that I used to work with are such a nice group of people, and that's why I enjoyed that old job so much, because it's a really good vibe, everyone's really friendly, and it's a really nice environment to be in. The things I don't miss so much are not having control over my own time and my work-life balance, because when you're an employee, you can turn up. That's just how it is. Just looking how long I've put this on for. And part of why I'm doing this, you know, went freelance, is to regain some of the control I have over my time. So if there is something I want to do, I do it. I can pick things up at a different time. So like today's holiday Friday, I don't need to work today, but I'm going to, because there's a few things I just want to get done, whereas I wouldn't have done that ever with my old job. Never ever. It's strange, like I sat in a couple of different seats in the office, and one of them was my old seat where I typically sit, and that was strange because I've been through a lot of thinking in that chair and deciding like, is right for me, what would I do, and then actually making the decision to move on as well.
Like, I did a lot with that particular seat, which is just, I don't know if that's a me thing or if other people would do that. And it was really weird because it's been a couple of months and yet it feels like it was ages ago. And also when I was in there, it felt like I'd maybe just been on holiday for a week and I'd come back and it was like, hi guys. So I guess the thing that I was thinking was, do I regret leaving? Did I leave going, I've made an awful mistake? The short of it is no, but I think it is complicated. So I was reminded, obviously as I've said, the team there are so nice and I get on with them so well. And when we were playing darts especially, everyone was on top form in terms of, you know, a fun activity, good vibes. It's just before a bank holiday, so everyone's in a pretty good mood. And I fitted in like as I'd never left, which was really nice because I think you always, well, I worried that, is it going to be awkward? Is it going to feel different? Is it going to be like I'm intruding on what it's like now? I think there is still potential for that to happen, if I'm honest. Like, as team members eventually come on board, like I'm going to be, it's going to stop, like time's on. So I think it will get probably a bit weirder as time goes on maybe, but right now it just felt like fine. And I think that's the element I missed. I was like, it's a bit like, this goes for other jobs as well, but like school is quite a good comparison. So, you know, at school you're surrounded by your friends every day and you don't have to go to any effort to catch up with them, to see them, to talk about what was on TV last night, to talk about your weekend. Now there's some of that, and I need to be clear, I don't think in a workplace you should be required to like pretend you're all deeply invested in each other's lives and your weekends and everything. There's always going to be an element of like, we're at work, you know? So I've known these people for 10 years. What I liked the most was that I was just there and I was immersed in it and I was able to have a catch up and be like, you know, what's going on? Are you good? Any major updates? Things I would have just been able to ask them so easily before, and now I'm like, oh, I need a reason to see you guys. So I think that's something that I've reflected on personally, is that from a relationships perspective I do get on with them, and from a people perspective want to make sure that I'm putting in effort to stay in touch with everybody. But from a work perspective, no. Love, but no, I've made the right decision for me, and it's really nice knowing that I don't have to adhere to things that I used to find really stressful. So like work balance is probably the biggest one for me, and also being, the way to put it, having to achieve things based on somebody else's views, opinions, what I like. And I've always had this in me of is I am a self-starter and I motivate myself. It can be sometimes difficult when you're at a place of work and you are trying to do things because you're like, I want that promotion, or I want that recognition, or I want that job title, I want that pay rise. What I'm liking so far in freelance life is that I've not got to prove to anyone but myself those things, because I think that's where a lot of the conflict, even in my own head, can come from. Like, oh, I don't have that job title, am I worthy? Like it can build in imposter syndrome in a way. I don't think that's exclusive. It's definitely not exclusive to my old workplace. I think that's just a trait that comes from working in like a sort of semi-corporate environment. So it was good because that is something that I've noticed definitely. I'm probably a lot harder on myself now I'm freelance from a progression perspective, but I also know like that stops with me, and that, I don't know, does that make sense? So yeah, it was weird and it was bizarre when I was like doing the commute there and the commute back. I think I said a couple of times, it feels just like I walked back in time. I'm literally living a day, just a singular day from my old life. And this is like, without going into too much like detail, boring you all to death, where we went to play darts was right near one of our old offices, and office in particular
I associate a lot with it, and I think it was quite a formative time for me over 10 years, because that was when lockdown happened and COVID happened. That was the office that we were based in at the time. So I have a lot of very vivid memories of hearing about lockdown, and then also the reintroduction to going back to work and being allowed into the office was all in that particular one. And a lot of my self growth progression happened around that particular, like those streets. I know that might sound bizarre, but that's what happened. So down those streets and pointing out, oh, do you remember when we went there? And do you remember here? And then the commute there and back. I was like, this is so bizarre, because it's like I've gone back 5 years. It was actually a really happy time, if I'm being honest. Not the lockdown side of it, but as in it was a of like lots of personal and professional growth. So it was really nice. I think I had like a day of all the best bit of my old job, if that makes sense. So yeah. Also, what I realised when I got home is that I knew about this day out. It wasn't a day out. This day would happen because it just hadn't been booked yet. This outing we had planned to go and play darts was on the horizon before I'd left. It was literally a case of couldn't find a date or a time. Now it is quite funny to me that it's now April. It took a long time for that thing to be booked, right? However, I think now it's happened, I was playing on my mind more than I realised, because I knew deep down, although I'd left, I was like, it's okay. I know I've got that occasion, happen, and I've got an excuse to go back and see everyone. And that's been and gone, that is weird, because I'm like, oh, that was actually the time. The last time I'll do something like that with those people in that capacity. That's a bit weird. I feel like we've had a bit of, it's like a bit of closure has happened that I wasn't expecting. Like I really thought about, and now I'm like, oh yeah. So positive though, that's what I want to make clear. It was actually a really good day, and I didn't leave feeling like resentful or bad vibes, or I don't know, like it was a waste of my time or it was awkward. I left feeling like it was all actually very positive, which is all I could ask for, to be honest. Because can you imagine if you'd gone to that and absolutely hated every second and felt like it was awkward, and then came home feeling resentful and like it was a waste of time, that you didn't like the people and stuff. I think that's what, as individuals, I really do get on with everyone there. I'm very happy that that's the case, because I just think that would be really shit if I turned up and I was like, yeah, I don't like any of you actually. Like, can you imagine? Oh, it just makes me feel really weird. I'm gonna stop talking now because we're gonna have lunch. It's a very late lunch, but they're gonna do a bit of work. I actually don't know if I'll check back in or if this will be the end of the vlog for this week. It might be, because it's the end of the working week, technically. Yeah, maybe I'll round things off here. Thanks for watching. If you got this far, it's been a week. It's been a productive week. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'd love to know as well in the comments if you have left a workplace and then gone back, like if you've gone freelance then gone back to your job. I know it's not for everyone. Some people leave on really bad terms and never want to talk to anyone again. I am I'm very aware how fortunate I am to have left on good terms and to have the luxury of still doing work for them, but still getting a day like that. Good to know if anyone else has done that. And next week, what's on the agenda? Oh, I've got a very exciting Monday. It is bank holiday, but I'm doing something on Monday that's exciting, so make sure you tune in for that. And it's going to be busy. It's going to be very busy actually, but busy in all the best ways. So yeah, thanks for watching. I don't know, I've just realised as I'm talking, I don't know how to round these off. Probably edit half this out and it will look really slick when you watch this. Also, I've just clocked that I've been filming for 15 minutes. It's way too long. You've all switched off. Anyway, yeah, let's go. Bye. See you next time.